Hello, everybody. We welcome you to this edition of News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin. Glad to be with you once again. And today on the program, in the first portion of the show, we're going to talk about a brand new film that is out. It's called Where's My Daddy? And it was created by a local gentleman who has a great story to tell and tell it through a number of voices. And we have a great pastor, Pastor Buck, in the studio as well to be supportive and to help tell the story also. And in the second segment, when we turn the page, we are going to shine the spotlight on a dynamic young woman. She is the new publisher and owner of the Scoop USA community newspaper. It's Women's History Month still, right? So we're going to celebrate this lady today. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. We are back. Here we go with the show. If you just turned your television set on, I got to tell you, right now on the program today, News You Can Use, I'm your host, Thera Martin. We're going to be talking in the first segment about this wonderful new film out, Where's Daddy? I keep saying, where's my daddy? Where's Daddy? A Breaking Glass Picture, Dowdell Film Company, and artists first present Where's Daddy? Now, the first screening of this fabulous film was done at the historic Grace Baptist Church in Germantown on Johnson Street. So Pastor Buck is here. Pastor James Buck is here. And the filmmaker himself is a member at Grace Baptist Church, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And we also have one of the people who was in the film. Ms. Long is here, and we're glad to have all three of you to help tell the story of Where's Daddy and why everybody needs to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let me start with you.
Yes.
Rel, thank you for being here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What inspired you to do this?
This is my first documentary. I just was tired of seeing the image of African American men look so downtrodden in the media. Maury Povich shows and they make black men look like they're such irresponsible fathers, like they don't want to be embracing what fatherhood is all about. And I said, why don't I do a film that shows African American men of all types of the spectrum, from the everyday African American male to the prominent athlete to the lawyer, the doctor, and show them tell their stories about how they want to be responsible fathers, but there's been hindrances. Yeah. But also the film needed balance, so that's why I needed Perella, who's a responsible mother who has several children. Yes. She needs to come in also and tell her story, so that way people know that this dilemma of the child support system has many layers. It's multi-layered, multifaceted, and that way the film has a great balance. I think the film turned out very well. It's getting great acclaim across the whole national spectrum. Pastor Buck is the esteemed pastor of Grace Baptist Church. He's seen it. He was there at the premiere at the Kimmel Center, and he's been championing this cause as well.
Oh, excuse me, the premiere was at the Kimmel Center.
The Kimmel Center in October.
Not at Grace.
Yes,
okay,
but that was that came from that.
Okay.
But really, the film has a civil rights issue that needs to be discussed, and that's why I think it's important for Perella and Pastor Buck to jump on this issue and put it out front.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's something that too many of our families are going through, and I'm so glad that you were visionary enough to get the idea and not to just sleep on it and sit on it and keep talking about it, but to make it into reality.
Well, you know, black men have so many stereotypes against them nowadays. There's so much injustice, and I think it all comes from oftentimes black men are not given the platform to speak about their issues. They're in the back of the bus for all purposes of saying. So if you give black men a chance to emote their concerns, healing happens. That's where injustice can be mitigated, because we're getting a chance to finally speak out about issues of injustice.
Yeah. Well, the one part in the film that brought me to tears was when the father who was talking about he just had $13 and he had to go to the supermarket and get dinner plus lunch for the next morning for his children, and that just did it for me. Tears started a-rolling, but it was just so well done. I highly compliment you on it, and can't wait to see your next product when that comes out.
I think if it's being screened all over the country right now. You can get the film on Amazon. Amazon has Where's Daddy available. The DVD is on there. The trailer's on YouTube. It can be seen on iTunes. It can be seen on Comcast On Demand. We're going to different cities to show the film, so the more people see it, the better. It's universal.
Yeah. What did you think when Rel first came to you, Pastor, and said, "Hey, Pastor, I've got a film I'm getting ready to do. It's Where's Daddy?" and it's all about fathers having to pay child support and the issues around it, and/or the women who are caught up in that whole system as well.
Thera, let me first of all thank you for allowing us to be here. I most definitely want to thank Mr. Dowdell, but I think that the heart of this story really comes from the testimony of Miss Perrella Long. We have a lot of stories of what our men are actually going through, but to hear an intelligent lady, an intelligent sister, be able to communicate the pain, the suffering, but the individual impact, but to be able to transform that and to be able to project it back on the community like, listen, I was once a part of the issue, now I'm a part of the solution.
Yes.
And so I think that Ms. Long brings a very interesting point to it, and I'm glad that she's here today.
Yes,
but in reference to when Mr. Dowdell came to us, it was no hesitation.
Because that's the kind of pastor you are.
Well, absolutely. Social justice, salvific justice.
Yes.
These are some of the most tough conversations to have in a church setting, and it should not be. And so when Mr. Dowdell brought it to me, and we got a chance to go to the viewing and the showing, I asked him immediately, I say, man, once you get all your stuff done, that has to come to Grace, in which we will be doing another showing as well to the community, where we can introduce these sophisticated systemic problems that a lot of our families are going through. Our children are caught in the middle, and our men and our women, they are suffering extremely. So that's when he brought that kind of said, we do have to step up our game.
I'm going to say something about that. I think that Pastor Buck and I also attended HBCUs.
Yes. I
went to Fisk, he went to Howard. I think when you are entrenched in your narrative of, because that's part of what we go through at HBCUs. We deal about injustice, discrimination with African American men, women, problems in our culture. When you come from that HBCU culture, it's entrenched in your mindset, and it's almost like you have a duty to go out here and deal with these issues when you graduate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Ms. Long, I definitely want to jump you into the conversation as well. And I, like you, found myself when I was 25 years old having to make that very tough decision. Do I take this man to court? I didn't want to. I wanted it to just be, do what you know is the right thing to do. I didn't want to have to do the court thing. But ultimately, I had to make the decision, take this man to court. So how tough was it for you to make that decision? I know you shared some of in the film, but these folks probably haven't seen the film yet. So give us a little bit of how you made your decisions.
Well, the story that I shared on the film, the reason why I took my ex-husband to court is because it was for the wrong reason. He hurt me, and it was my way of getting back at him. I figured I would hurt him in his pocket. So he couldn't hurt me emotionally. I couldn't get him back that way, so I figured I would hurt him in his pocket. So I went down, filed, and he actually received it on his birthday, which made it even better. We went to court, sat there. We didn't speak, which was weird because that was my husband.
Yes.
So it was a little weird to take your husband to child support court. But I received an order, received a few orders. But then after a while, I started feeling bad because I did it for all the wrong reasons. He then fell on hard times, and I no longer started receiving child support. But I then vacated the order because it was just the right thing to do. I'm not saying that I wasn't deserving of child support because I'm totally deserving of it, but I did it for the wrong reason. I've been blessed to be able to have a career in which I was able to care for my child or my children, but I did it for all the wrong reasons. And I'm certainly not going to say that women aren't deserving of it, because they are, but I'm sure that some did it or will do it for the reason that I've done it, or I did it, and it's not fair, it's not right. But it was an emotional response because I was hurt. But I guess where it needs to change is that there needs to be a communication thing, and that's where we lacked. And
at the end of the film, then you made me cry again.
My goodness.
Because the gentleman with the son who committed
Yeah.
suicide,
Yes,
and then
yes.
he got ill, and then
Yes.
he died shortly
Yes,
thereafter.
yes.
And I just felt so hurt. And that story around the women who, again, in my opinion, I know my opinion is right, make the wrong decision. If you have a father that's doing the right thing, that's taking care of the child and getting that child on weekends or whenever they're allowed to have the child and loving that child, then you turn around and make lies up and accuse them or try to teach the child to
Yes.
tell a whole
Yes.
story that's a concocted lie and
Yes.
just,
Can I-
and there
can
are
I-
women who do
Let me
that.
ask you one thing. So for the African American woman that is adverse to seeing this movie, I'm leery of seeing this movie because I don't want to get the wrong message. Why do you think that people of all races and black women, black men should see this movie? Since you've seen it.
I would say to be more sensitized to the trauma that having to do with child support can impact on a whole family, not just the mother, not just the father, the whole family.
Yes.
See it and be educated.
I agree.
And you know, Thera, the thing that, this is not saying, like Ms. Long said, this is not saying that persons are not deserving. I most definitely want to put that out there. But what we are actually putting forth is child support reform. Not so much of the issue separating the family, but the issue that actually focuses on the needs of the child. And so once again, I totally have great respect for Ms. Perella because I think she is the spot on point.
Yeah.
This is a very rare jewel of being able to share her story and having some other persons that may look at it another way. But I think it took a great deal of courage.
Yes, it did.
For her to come and say, you know, this is the way I saw it, I was hurt.
Yep.
I mean, how many of our sisters are that strong
Yes.
to do that?
I respect your strength. I
Yes,
do. I do.
yes.
But I would also say, as a part of the child support reform piece, if it can be proven that certain mothers or fathers who may be getting child support, for that matter, are misusing the money.
That's right.
You
That's
going
in
down the casino, you buying
It's in the
jewelry,
movie.
you getting a
That's
new
right.
weave.
That's right. That's right.
You getting your nails and your feet
Yes.
done, and your child is in raggedy clothes and runned over sneakers and doesn't have lunch.
Right.
Something needs to be done about
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, I think
And I don't know
that's-
how you manage that. I don't know how the government would manage that, but
Well, I think once again, Mr. Dowdell has done a serious task of diving into this sensitive issue, even dealing with that spectrum of the situation
Yes.
when those resources are actually being mishandled or misused. And where the church has a responsibility at is not getting into the legalities of the issue, but making sure that we communicate and even talk about what areas, what parameters could be helpful. But I would also like to say this. I think that this particular picture, this particular documentary, if any of our elected officials have not seen this, this is a very important issue.
They
I
need
think
to
it's
see it.
yes, I think it's very important because number one, we're coming up on an election year, and with many of the benefits, and I would even say the rights, the laws, the injustices actually that are happening, our children will not have a future. And so when we have people who are running for office who cannot speak to an issue like this,
That's right.
the one-stop shopping is not going to be productive. They only come to get your vote and you don't see them anymore. But I know that there are some who are actually out there in the trenches doing all of that. But this is very important.
Yes.
It is.
Not only here in the city of Philadelphia, but I think nationwide.
well, I am
That's right.
glad that it exists, that it's out there, that you had the vision, that you spoke it into reality. How can people access purchasing the
Yes.
DVD or watching it online like we did over the weekend? We did both.
That's a great thing.
Purchased it and got it online, and or the next screening. Where's it going to be?
That's coming up soon too. We're going to be showing it in Harlem for several weeks coming up, and that's our next stop
Wow.
theatrically.
Wow.
But people can get the film, like I said, from Amazon, Where's Daddy DVD, iTunes. It's on Comcast On Demand, Verizon On Demand. But like Pastor Buck said, we live in a society where people do not think discrimination exists. People think discrimination is a lost issue. Discrimination happens every day.
Yeah.
And judges and political officials, we have to make sure that we're on top of this issue. This is serious business.
Yeah.
And if we don't address these issues in films like Where's Daddy
Yeah.
or in conversations at a local church, it gets lost.
Then we're wrong.
Or
We're
on your
wrong.
esteemed show.
Yeah.
So you should be commended for bringing this to the limelight too, Thera. Let's give you some
Thank
props,
you.
as we say.
I'm glad for the opportunity to be able to do that. We're out of time.
My God.
But I thank you for coming. I thank you for bringing this to help impact what we're
Yes.
talking about.
And don't buy a bootleg of my film, please.
No, absolutely not. Buy the real deal on Amazon.com.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
I thank you for being
Thank
here.
you
God
for letting
bless
me-
you.
Yes,
Lots of
yes,
success
yes,
as you go
yes,
forward.
yes.
So much.
Sister Long, there we go. Okay, all right, we'll be back in just a moment, and we'll be bringing forth Sherri Darden, the new owner of the Scoop USA.
Yes, yes, yes.
Take a good look at yourself. Oh, yeah. And turn. Oh, very nice. Check that smooth backside one more time. No, really. Check it. Do you see any changing or suspicious spots? It's your skin, and it's important. If you're a man over 50, you're in the group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the cancer that kills one person every hour. When detected early, skin cancer is highly treatable. Check yourself out and find someone else to help. Learn more about what to look for at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Drownings are the #1 cause of accidental death for young children. Simple safety steps are the best way to prevent these tragedies. Make sure kids learn how to swim. Designate an adult water watcher to watch kids in and around water. Save the phone calls and texts for when the kids are out of the water. Properly fence all pools with fences at least 4 feet high and with self-closing, self-latching gates. When above-ground pools aren't in use, remove the ladders. When pools aren't in use, cover them. Teach kids to stay away from drains. And if a child is missing, check the pool or spa first. Consider the steps you take, then add a few more, because you never know which pool safety step will save a life. Until it does. Simple steps save lives. To learn some new ones, visit poolsafely.gov.
Hello, everybody, and we welcome you back to this edition of News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin, and as promised, I am presenting to some, introducing to others, the brand new owner of the Scoop USA community newspaper. She's my sister, she's my friend. I'm talking about Sherri Darden. Woo, she's here. In all the years that I knew Sonny Driver and wrote for him when he was the publisher and owner of the Scoop, you know I could never get him to do not a cable TV show with me, not a radio show with me. He always said, oh, I'm too busy. I'm going to get him. I'm still going to get him. I'm still going to get him. But congratulations.
Well, thank you, Thera. Thank you for having me on your show, and for him.
Yes,
I want to
yes.
thank you too, because I think that I represent him.
Yes, you do, and you're
All right.
representing him well.
Thank you.
I mean, you've been around the Scoop for what, 21, 22 years?
Almost 22.
And watched you grow over the years, but never thinking one day she's going to be the boss.
Never.
And there you are.
Never.
And here you are.
And I'm sure many of our readers know my story, and this was something that was not definitely planned. And there's no way that I would say that I would want to inherit this paper, because inheriting it means that I've
Yes,
lost
right,
something that is so precious to me. But knowing what I signed on for, and knowing that I am in for more, it's a huge undertaking. But just knowing that, I'm thankful to have been there,
Yes,
to be
yes.
able to have been nurtured and cared for
Mentored.
and mentored, so that I can do this.
Yep, he taught you the name of the game and how to get it done.
He taught me enough of the game. I'm still learning.
Yes, yes. But
He
you know, when you
protected
first
me.
came to the Scoop 21 years ago, you came in as a part-time gig,
Typist.
make a little extra money as a typist.
As a typist. I
And
came
now?
in primarily to take care of my daughter, so that I wouldn't have to ask anybody for anything. So I went there with the guise of working as hard as I could to make some extra money for as long as I needed to. What fortunately happened is he never let me leave. Every time I wanted to leave, he says, "You can't go,
Yeah, you
little
can't
one."
go.
So my name was Little One. Little One, you can't go. You have to stay. If you do the bills, I don't care what it is that you do. You need to stick around. So we developed a bond, a relationship, which is hard to even
Unbroken.
describe.
Unbroken.
Yeah, unbroken.
Yes.
And here I am.
So the Scoop USA community newspaper is not a Johnny-come-lately. It has been around for
58 years.
58
years in February. The paper's been around for 58 years. It's been through different stages and developed through civil rights, through just general life in the neighborhood. And we made our triumphs.
Yes.
And we've stood the task, and we're still here. We have new challenges, of course, with the new owner, new life. I'm sure that we'll make it through that. We're doing some great things. We're trying to help the community by expanding. One of the best things about the paper and what I learned early on, which is also part of the reason why it wasn't hard for him to keep me there, was that I learned the things that being a community and doing for the community can do. So working with the paper and working directly to nurture, share information, and develop a bond with the community that provides them that platform, such as this, to share information, to get information, to give information, and to help our people know the things that are happening around them.
Yes.
So with knowing all of that, it's an invaluable tool, and it's what I've come to learn is something that I don't think that I could do without. And from what I understand from the many people who call me when they don't get their paper, I think that is something that a lot of people don't want to do without. So my job today, and my job ever since November when I took over this paper, is to try to figure out how to diminish the gap between the different groups and help our young understand the value of the paper.
Yes.
And to help our old continue to have the paper. And
my generation, and I will be 60 soon. I don't mind telling my age because I'm happy to be alive. So if I live until the month of June, I will be 60 years old. So I'm in the older generation, right? I love holding my newspapers in my hand. Internet is fine and all that, and yes, I do get on the internet, and yes, I read articles on the internet, but I still am old school. Give me my paper in my hands, be that the Scoop USA, the Daily News, the Tribune, whatever. I like my paper in my hands. That's the older generation. And people in my age group and older, they can tell me week from week just about what my columns were about in the Scoop. That's why I know people read it. But the younger generation, we are going to have a challenge with them.
So we do, but there's a good thing. For one, our paper is free. So the cost that comes along with internet, having access to certain things, you don't need that when you have this paper. Because it is free, it's distributed to the community. So you do get to tangibly hold something. You get to prize it. You get to store it. So the ideal of, yes, we are online. You can look at it online too, but the real reality is that it is tangible. It is something that can be touched, and it can give you that real life experience that my mother had or that you had, which I think is important.
The articles that you see in the Scoop oftentimes are articles about things you'll see nowhere else. And that's one of the things that I appreciate so much about the Scoop. And I feel like it gives me an opportunity as one of the columnists for the Scoop to tell people's stories, to help them get it out, because it's not always going to go to mainstream media. It's not going to pick up all the stories that we do in an outlet like the Scoop.
So the reality is there too, that with the paper, we're a community paper. We provide a platform for people such as yourself to write, to share their stories. A lot of places don't allow that. So a lot of our writers are directly from the community. And they're sharing information and stories that come from the community, things that, people enjoy. People love to find out and to hear about what's going on around them and in their life, and to see it in print
is something that's a value. It's just a valuable tool. There's no other way to say it.
Down
it
memory
really
lane
means.
is pretty popular too.
Oh, yes.
It's a photograph in the Scoop every week toward the back of the Scoop that spotlights a scene of photos of people from back in the day, and they're always like fun scenes and whatnot. Sometimes I know some of the people in the photos, and sometimes I don't. So that really tells my age, right? But a lot of people love that and ask me about that all the time, or ask me, how can I get that picture? I said, you better call the Scoop. Don't talk to me. So.
Well, one of the things that I've been trying to do is we have our own photos. We have, and as they say, a lifetime of history in our photos. So we have our stock photos, but we also ask people, if you have a memory lane or something that you want to share it. Because the whole part of this is to develop the relationship where I give and you give, and we bring some information out for everybody so that they all can understand the value.
Okay, I got the hot question for you. People
What?
ask me all the time, where can I get the Scoop? And I can rattle off a few places for them. I know where they are, but I don't know all the places. Can you give me one place in South Philly, maybe one place in West Philly?
Okay, so of course West Philly is the ShopRite on 52nd Street, 52nd and Parkside.
All
It's
right,
there.
bam.
It's at a lot of the nursing homes because of
It's
course
a lot of churches too, like
and
Mount
at the
Carmel
churches,
Baptist
yes,
Church.
Definitely at the churches. In South Philly, of course, the Y has it on Christian Street, and
That's good, that's good.
Where else? The African Museum.
Okay.
has
Oh, yes,
it.
they sure do. They
Yes.
sure do.
City
in
Hall has
Germantown,
it.
City Hall has it. And in Germantown, I always go to Champagne Lounge at in the 300 block of West Shelton Avenue. They always have it right in the door when you walk in. Usually on a Friday. You come on a Friday or Saturday, it's there.
It's there. And Broad Street, the Amico, and Broad and what's that? Alney, Old York Road. It's there.
Good, good. And a lot of other locations too.
Yeah,
so if you want to
let's
know
just go.
all the locations or the one nearest you, maybe it would be easier to just call the paper and someone will tell you where you can go to pick up the
So
Scoop.
a good thing is we're in the process, and we have been, of developing a new website. So on our website, it's every location where you can pick up the
Great.
paper. So we're
Great.
trying to make information accessible, and we're actually going to probably be hitting all of the main spots. So people can actually pick it up.
All right.
All right, and if not, you can always look at it online. It's on www.scoopusanewspaper.com.
Okay, say that
Right.
again.
www.scoopusanewspaper.com.
Okay, and the phone number at the office, if you want to put that out there.
That's a cliffhanger here. Sarah, you know I just changed my number.
remember it. I don't remember it. I still know the old number in my head.
I know it. It's 215-309-3139.
Okay, we got it. We're celebrating you, Sherri Darden, for
Thank
Women's History
you.
Month. You're one of very few women that are the owner and publisher of a newspaper. Congratulations.
Thank
love
you
you.
so.
Love
Thank
you
you.
much.
I love you
All the
too.
best. That's it for this edition of News You Can Use, everybody. Check us out next time. And remember, life is fragile. Handle it with prayer.